So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Meet the Judge live on Facebook and YouTube. Tonight, my guest need introduction to many of you. Very popular judge worldwide. We're always very welcome to see him in Ireland. He involved in many breeds over the years, including German Shorthaired Pointers, Old English Sheepdogs, but predominantly of late Newfoundlands and Petit Basset Griffon Von Dien. Former Vice President of the Dutch Kennel Club, very heavily involved in, or formerly involved in FCI commissions, was a former chairman of the FCI show committee. And as I say, he's always a very popular judge, a very well-respected judge, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome John Wauben. Good evening, John. How are you?
Hi, Colm. I'm great. I'm great. Yeah, it's a bit hot here, but I think this is what I need in this period of the year.
It must be difficult. It must be difficult with Newfoundlands, though, and that sort of heat.
Oh yes, they are now living in the house. We have a house with thick walls, and it's always 5-6 degrees colder than outside. So they are now mostly in the house. And tomorrow morning we start with the water trial. So we go water training with them.
And thoroughly enjoy that.
Oh yes, yes.
And tell me, John, how are things in the Netherlands at the moment with COVID-19? Is the situation getting better? Are people being vaccinated now?
Yes, a lot of people. I think now the year 1995, something like that. So 20-25 years now, people are getting vaccinated if they want, and we have a very low amount of people in the hospital. So our government decided to loose some rules. So mouse caps in most of the locations are not allowed anymore, are not obliged anymore.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, we are going to have events, but a lot of events you need to show your vaccination passport or your negative test.
Okay.
But I think that's good, because if you want to go to Ghana or Zimbabwe, you also have to show a passport with vaccinations. So, and if this is the thing that we can do anything, that we can do events again, then please welcome, do.
And in terms of dog shows, are they starting to happen again? Will Maastricht happen this year?
Oh yes, Maastricht will definitely go on. Last year, you know that we were last year one of the 3 shows in the Netherlands that had been organized. We are in the end of September, and last year we were the last show of the year, and I think we are one of the first this year. So from July we have some shows in Gorinchem, in Zwolle, and then we have our show.
And Maastricht is probably one of the biggest shows in the Netherlands. So you will attract quite a large. You have what, over 2 days?
It's 2 days, 2 days all breed show. So 2 days all breed. And we also have a lot of visitors from England. Last year we had a lot of visitors from England. Don't ask me how they came in and how they went out because of COVID, but they were there and we were very lucky. And we also, I think we are 50% of our entries are foreigners. Because we always say we have the balcony of Europe. And the balcony of Europe, it's very easy to drive to Maastricht from all kinds of countries.
And in terms of regulations, I assume you've got very strict regulations to adhere to. Are they coming from your government, your kennel club, or are these what Maastricht have drawn up themselves?
Mostly from the government. We know, maybe you know that I'm also involved with COVID in my city. So I work for the city of Valkenburg, and I also I'm involved with the COVID. So I know a lot of procedures. Next to that, the MAC building, where we are, the exhibition center, had a very, very good COVID procedure. And together we made it possible that there was a great organization. And we also we afterwards we asked the entries, the exhibition people how they felt about the show, and they gave us 4.5 out of 5.
It's very good.
So, yeah.
And did you have any negative? Did you have any people objecting to your regulations?
No, because they knew before. We put it on the website. We gave them emails. We gave them time schedules. We told them what they could expect when they enter. So everybody knew, and you always have some complaints and people that are complaining that there is a COVID and we cannot do what we want, and okay, that's okay, that's always.
And have you a native judging panel, or have you an international judging panel?
Last year we had an international, and this year we also have an international.
Oh, very good.
Okay. We have 31 judges this year, and 50% is international.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, let's hope it goes extraordinarily well for you.
Oh, yes. We do everything to manage it.
And manage it you will, as you always do.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the very start of your career, John. Did you have dogs growing up as a child, or were your parents involved in dog showing, or how did your involvement come about?
Oh, I can tell you that my parents actually they did not like dogs too much.
Okay.
Yeah, but I kept asking, I want a dog, Mommy, I want a dog, Dad, I want a dog, but they always said no. And then my dad, he wanted to have a good sons with good reports in school, and so we said, if you have a good report, you will have a dog. So when I was 15, I got a dog for my because of my report. And I called him Fido, but don't ask me the breed, because I think there were 4 or 5 breeds in it. And within 3-4 months, my parents even started to love the dog. And although they never had dogs, they really liked me starting to love dog world. And when they died 2 years ago and 3 years ago, they told me, please keep on what you are doing. Keep on being busy with dogs.
And so your first breed, then your first real breed that started it. What brought you into the show world?
We saw in somewhere in our city. We saw a white, gray, woolly creature, and we immediately fell in love. And if you say white, gray, woolly, then we saw it was an Old English sheepdog. And I can tell you, this female, Nobi, and the kennel name was Beloved Elsa of the Great Pearls, the stock name, was the best buy we ever did. And she made me start to study all of dogs concerned. After that, very soon, within 2 years, a Newfoundland came. So I had 1 Old English, 1 Newfoundland. Okay. Then we got 2 Old English, 1 Newfoundland. Then we got 2 and 2 and 3 and 3.
Okay.
So we had 6 in, I think, 5 or 6 years. We had 6 dogs.
And I assume that this photograph now you sent me is Nobi, yes?
Yes, that's my number one ever. We bought her the 1st of July in 1979, and the father the father of my wife, he gave us 1,000 euro, 1,000 guildens. That's about 400 euros
Mm-hmm.
to buy a washing machine if we would get married. But he died before we could get married, and we got his washing machine because we inherited it, and from the money we bought this one, and this was the best buy.
And this is this her again?
Yes, that's in Carnival. Yes.
And did you show her?
Yes, we showed her once, and I must tell you that yeah, she was a very good dog. We now say very good.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
but our one of our friends, one of our judges, Mr. Antal, he was the best Group 1 judge we've ever seen in the Netherlands, and he said this dog was the best dog ever he saw in the show ring. Why?
Yes.
Because he said it was the best height of the dog.
Okay.
Nothing else. He just looked at the height. So I was very honored that he was best of breed, and he became, I think, 2 or 3 in the group. But after that, only very good, because other judges were had other types. Yeah.
And in relation to the first question that I asked you about growing up, etc., did you have dogs, etc.? Now you did send me a photograph, which you are going to have to explain, which is
yes, that was my
your first dog.
I think that's me. I think 10 years ago, Cole, or maybe a little bit more. But, that's where I color my hair. Now I have the natural hair. This is the first dog in my life. That's called Fido.
Okay.
He was a gorgeous dog, but as you can see, yeah. Please tell me what breed it is.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's what it's called another. So, how long did it start you to actually win within your various breeds? Did it take a while?
Yes, because I was much more involved with organizing shows and events, and because I love to organize, because it's also a part of my job. I do this for 42 years now in my city, so I just love to work in organizations. And as I told you, in 1979, we were very unexperienced with dogs. And so we just wanted to have a dog looking like we've seen. The breeders where we bought our Old English Sheepdog and also our Newfoundlands, they were okay, but not more than that. So we thought that we got the best dogs, but actually they were not more than very good. And after a while, we became a PBGV, and our PBGVs, they were very nice. So we got several champions PBGVs. I think after 10, 12 years after our first dog, we made our first Dutch and Luxembourg champion in PBGV.
And this particular?
Yes, that's Dweezil. Yeah, she's very nice. Yeah, we bought her. We got her for one of our best friends, Marion Kwaadvlieg, and she was marvelous, and she was also our first dog in some generations we bred.
And as anybody who's judged or shown in the Netherlands that knows, the standard of PBGBs is very, very high over there.
Yes,
and always has been.
Yeah, we have a high standard, because we have some good breeders in our country, but also breeders that hunt or try to hunt or try to have the dogs working. And maybe you know, if you know me, then you know that working with a dog is one of the most important things in my life. I want nice dogs, but they also need to work.
And when you started off, particularly in owning sheepdogs, Newfoundlands, etc., what people influenced you very much when you began?
Yeah, we were when we started 1st of July 1979. My wife wanted to go to obedience training because she heard that it was good for your dog. So we found the Maastricht Dog Club in our neighborhood, and there I started my career. And this Maastricht Dog Club was a great club at that time. We had a lot of fun. We were a lot younger then. I think I was 23, 24 with the dogs. And sometimes we came home at 3 o'clock in the morning after the obedience training. So yeah, we had big hospitality. We had a lot of friends, drinks. We had laughs, and we traveled a lot to shows by bus or minibus with friends. I remember I traveled to Crufts with 10 guys in one small bus. And I won't tell you what happened when we are away from home, but always talking about dogs there.
Yeah.
And the first people there who made me really start to love dog world were the president of the club at that time, Mr. Will Simon, and one of my greatest teachers ever. He passed away, I think, 2-3 years ago. He was a gun dog judge, Mr. Jos van Soest. And he persuaded me to start a career as a judge. And I still thank him every day for that.
And this gentleman is?
Yeah, that's him. That's Jos van Soest. He's one of he was one of the best judges and teachers ever.
And that's very important.
Yeah, he's a gun dog judge. He knows how to work with dogs. He knows how a dog. I still remember that I had a German wirehair pointer, a beautiful one, but he missed 2 P1s.
Okay.
And then, and sometimes I was disqualified with the dog, and sometimes when there was a gun dog judge, I became best. Why? Jos van Soest, he said, okay, he said, can he take that rabbit? I said, yes, he has his brevet, how you call it, his diplomas in hunting. Can he take a dog? I say, yes, of course. Okay, then it's a really nice gun dog, with or without 2 P1s.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, it's not that good, but he was very convinced that there's more than a tooth in the gun dog, you know.
Yeah. And you keep going back to this working dogs, etc. How important is it to you that Newfoundlands or the Puppies or gun dogs? How important is it to you that they actually can do what they were bred to do?
When I was the president of the FCI Judges Commission, I worked very hard on a code for judges, that judges should judge dogs according to the standard, but also according to the function they originally were made for. I always don't feed a Newfoundland too much because he then cannot swim anymore.
Okay.
Don't give him too much coat because he cannot swim anymore. Don't give him too much eye opening because all the water goes into his eyes. So this is, for me, this is very important. You should always remember what a dog is used for, was used
Mm-hmm.
for.
Mm-hmm. And you're very passionate about your Newfoundlands. I know this. What is it about Newfoundlands? Tell us, as a breed specialist, what makes them so special.
I love the easy way they act. They are like like me. I love their attitude. I love the way they can look at you and the way they want to work in the water. If tomorrow I get my car and there are special things, I do special things in them, and then they are getting crazy like hell, because they see me doing something that relates on the water. So they are crazy. I love to work with them, being one in the water. I When they save me from drowning, I say, help, help, help. And then they come and they get me and take me to the shore.
Mm.
They are strong, they are powerful, and they are very easy in movement. So I now have 4 Newfoundlands and 1 PBGV. And the PBGV I love because of their stubborn character. If they see or smell, they are gone.
Okay.
That's what I
Yeah.
love. And you can. I remember once we were in France. Then we had, at that time we had 3 or 4 new PBGVs, and we were in France on vacation. And we walked, I think, 2-3 hours with the PBGVs, and then I said, okay, now let her loose, because we always had one of the dogs on a leash. And after 2.5 hours, 5 minutes loose, and she was 40 minutes away.
Wow.
Yes, because she smelled a deer. It's not good that she smells a deer, but smelled a deer, and she was gone for 40 minutes.
And for anybody judging Newfoundlands for the first time, give us three. What are the 3 foundation points that you would look for in a Newfoundland?
Its attitude. A dog that comes into the ring should carry his head in a special way.
Mm-hmm.
Not too high. It's not the show dog,
Yes.
but also not on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It should move easy, and it should have a deep breast. It also, in the standard, it says that the breast should be deeper than the elbow, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
deeper than the elbow. So
Mm-hmm.
you see the depth of the Newfoundland, and what very important is that the tail moves like a rudder.
Okay.
A lot of times you see that the tail of the when the dog comes into the ring or moves, the tail goes like this.
Yeah.
And then mostly there is something wrong in the hindquarters. You can feel
Right.
it, no muscle, or not too good in angulation, because the rudder of the dog has to compensate the movement.
Mm-hmm.
So the rudder, and also in the water, the rudder is the tail as a rudder is very important.
Okay. And do you think Newfoundlands are going a little bit too small nowadays?
Depends where you are. If I sometimes I judge in all over the world, except in America, Newfoundlands, and I think that, for instance, in Russia and Italy and France, they have a very nice Newfoundlands. Also in the Scandinavian countries, they are not too low. The low, I don't like low-legged.
No.
But sometimes the breast is a little bit too deep. And
Okay.
it's not about the low, or the dog is a little bit too low in height. and I need a bear when I
Yes.
see,
Yeah.
and not the small one, not too small.
Mm, mm. And in terms of your achievements as an exhibitor, what would you say was your biggest achievement?
We had not that much, but when we had the German wire-haired pointers, once our female won the group at an international show, and our male became second in the group at the winner show. And until a few years ago, we never had the dogs to win, all the time to show, because I did a lot of work. I also did a lot of work for the Dutch Kennel Club,
Yeah.
and for my organization. I judged a lot. So you don't have the time to enter dogs. Now I have some more time, and now I'm handling Newfoundlands, our own Newfoundlands. And before COVID, it was okay. We sometimes made some CCs and with young dogs, so that was okay.
And talk to me about this guy.
Yes, she now has had puppies.
Ah.
If you see my Facebook site,
Yes.
you see 9 puppies of our wish, River Dance from the Turbofuve. She's very nice. The head could be better. That's why I use the dog with a very broad and massive skull, and with very nice, I don't know how the word, well closed eyes, not too open, because she also has a little bit of lip, a little bit of this, and I wanted to improve. And if you see my puppies on Facebook, then you see that I got that from the male, and I'm very happy that you can breed like this. Just what's in your heart.
Well, that brings me on to my next question now, because when you are choosing a dog to mate a bitch to, do you study pedigrees a lot, or do you, as you've just said, say, well, I think that the head on that dog is going to suit my bitch's head, or vice versa?
Mm-hmm. I'm not that interested in searching in pedigrees. That gives me the feeling that I only try to make a good combination on paper. I want to find out a combination with which I can try to improve the dogs I used. I want to improve the male, I want to improve the female.
Yes.
And that's for me. If I told you that my female, she could have less lips, she could have less open eyes, and she could have maybe a broader skull. That's what I wanted to improve. So I took a dog with which I thought I could improve. And I saw that dog. I said, that's the dog I want to have. And then I studied the pedigree.
Okay.
So it has to fit, of course. It has to fit. And but I love to do outcross, for instance.
Really? Do you find that very important?
Yes. In the breed, everything is important. Lines are important, but also an outcross. Also, take another dog in your generations.
Yeah.
Just do it because you like the dog, and don't see details. Sometimes people say, but the left foot and the right toe of the left foot is a little bit loose, so I need to. But no, just see the total of the dogs.
That's very, very good advice. So we have quite a few people watching this evening, John. Colette Muldoon says hello. Anne Ingram says hello. Gerda van Grunweg says hello. Enrique Mate Duran is watching. Mark Ragusa from America is watching. So you've got a few people watching now this evening. So when did you start judging?
The Netherlands, they have the best, I think, one of the best education programs, but it's also one of the hardest and longest. So
Yes.
I started in 1979 when I got my first dog. I was very interested in the organization and dog world, so I started the basic course. And then 6 years later, I passed my first exam for Old English Sheepdog. And after that, I found the passion in working with and for dogs. So I wanted to learn more and more. In 1987, yes, I judged for the first time at the Christmas show in Wijchen in the Netherlands. At that time, there were about 30 Old English entered, and that was a lot for that time.
Yeah.
But they also saw me as a specialist breeder, a specialist judge, because I bred 2 or 3 litters, and I was involved with the board of the Old English Sheepdog Club. So they think, oh my God, that's a judge we must have.
And when you started judging, can you remember what the best piece of advice you were given?
Yes, the best and the nicest advice on that day in Wijchen came from one of the nicest ladies ever in dog world, Villa Heerkens Verschuren. Maybe you know her.
I've heard of.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know her, but because she died, I think 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and she was Our Lady of Kinology. And she always was nice in words to everyone, and she had no bad words about dogs. How bad they were! I once remember that she gave a dog a very good, and she said, "That is a nice dog. He has a good life, very good." Yeah. So then you know that it was a bad kind of dog. And before I started to judge at that day, my first appointment, she said, "John, just follow your heart and just be nice to the dogs and their owners. They love their dogs," she said, "and you love them too." After I judged, she asked me how it was, and I told her that I had a hard but a great time. 30 Old English and a lot of people,
Yes.
Yeah. And then she asked me, how many excellence did you give? I said, I think about 10, 15 of 30. And then she said, please, John, next time give more excellence, because otherwise people won't come to see you anymore. So I never followed that advice, that last one, but I always follow her first advice, and that was follow your heart when you judge.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice, and particularly the part where be nice to the dogs, be nice to the exhibitors.
Yes.
They have paid for your opinion. Now, whether they like your opinion or not is beside the point. But it takes no time to be nice to judges and exhibitors. To the dogs and the exhibitors.
Yes. And I remember that because I'm also an exhibitor with dogs that are not always champions and best in shows and best of groups. So I really a lot of times judge says, no, John, not okay, go. And then I'm disappointed, but only 2 minutes, because then I hug my dog and I said, okay, you go with me. We have a walk, and I'm the happiest man ever because it's my dog.
And I know that just one other. Sorry, before I move on, do you also judge at working level?
No.
But you do work your dogs competitively, or is it just for fun?
Just for fun. We do water training with our dogs, and once a year we have the water trials. About 80 Newfoundlands are coming together then, and then we have a sort of competition within the club. And I used to work with the PBGVs hunting, but in the Netherlands it's very hard to hunt. So we went to Belgium with our dogs, and sometimes I entered for brevet de chasse.
Mm. Now, I know you are involved very much with education within the Dutch Kennel Club, and you were, if I'm right, part of the education committee. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
How important is it? Do you think it is for aspiring judges to ask questions of well-known breeders, well-known exhibitors? Do you think enough aspiring judges do that?
I don't think that enough judges do that, because judges don't want to say something, or aspiring judges don't want to ask something because they are afraid if I ask, he can think that I'm not good.
Yes.
And a lot of judges, old judges like me, they don't want to share the knowledge because they think if I share the knowledge, maybe they don't ask me anymore, because then a lot of people are the same like me. And why should they ask an old man when you also can ask a younger man? So I always say that it's very important to share the knowledge, but in a positive way.
Yes.
And never criticize, but always try to discuss things.
Yes.
When I had not had a lot of experienced people around me, then I wouldn't have come that far. I always ask people, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Can I ask you a question? Can I try to find out what you meant by doing this or this? And don't be afraid to ask, because a lot of people just want to share the knowledge, but if you don't ask, then people cannot, they don't see what you want.
You're quite right, and I think it is a recurring theme that has come through the interviews that I've done. That we as judges, when we're lucky enough to travel abroad and sit at a group ring with other breed specialists and sit and talk about different dogs that are coming into the groups, you learn so much, and even as an all breeds judge, you say, well, what's so special about that Doberman, or it's you learn so much, and you never stop asking questions.
Yeah, but please be open and honest then.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I talk with colleagues. Sometimes they say, "Oh yes, look at, I had the most marvelous dog. I gave the best of breed to, and he became 20 times best of breed." I don't mind. I just want to know, why is he so marvelous, or why is the other dog not that marvelous?
Yes.
Why is it always that Newfoundland becoming best of breed? Is there no other Newfoundland becoming best of breed? Why? Why not? Why? Because you don't like what, this or that, and just not to criticize, but to discuss what judges think about interpreting the standard.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah.
That is a very valid point. And to date, how many breeds do you judge?
I judge groups 1, 2, 4, 6, and 10. And I wanted to start, and that's a COVID. COVID. I wanted to start my education for the 9th group, but during the quiet COVID period, I felt that there are more things in life than in dog life than becoming a judge for breeds and breeds and breeds. So I just want to keep it like the things I have, 5 groups. That's a lot, and I once told I often go to countries to educate aspiring judges or student judges, and I always say, if you want to judge dogs, do it with your heart.
Yes.
And don't read in the ring your standards. Don't have it on paper. You just need to close your eyes. Before I judge the Newfoundland, I close my eyes and I said, if it's coming into the ring, it has to be like this and like this and like this. And then I open my eye, and then you can see what you look for in the ring. And I do that with all the breeds I judge.
Mm. And you can see how anybody out there that's watching that how difficult the Dutch system is, because I mean you've been judging since 1979.
Yeah,
and
sorry, 1985.
85. But even so, I mean that's a long time, and in a lot of countries you'd be an all-rounder by now. Or
yes.
Maybe you don't want to be.
Yes, but I don't want to be an all-rounder because I like all breeds. Maybe 2 or 3 I said, okay, I don't like them that much, but I nearly like all breeds, but I want to be sure in my ring. I once had a colleague who said to me when I was a steward, tell me, John, what breed is this? And he was, and there were people that had to travel 4 hours back and 4 hours to the show with 2 dogs. For breed, he didn't know. So this is, to me, then I said, okay, I don't want to be like this. I just want to judge the breeds I want to judge.
Well, I have to say now, the shame on that judge, because we all get a list of breeds that we are doing. Yes. And if there's something you're not sure of in this day and age, and even before that, you go and research.
Yeah,
and find out.
Yes, I saw. I think a few weeks ago on I don't know what Facebook group about the FCI breed app.
Yes.
You know it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's perfect app.
It's brilliant.
It's very good.
Absolutely.
But there was a discussion that people said, "Oh, we could need that in the ring." Oh my God! I didn't. I reacted a little bit. But why use it in the ring? Then
Absolutely.
you cannot judge. You are judging from a paper. You have to judge from what's here. What do you see in the breed, and judge it like that. And if you cannot keep it in this or in this, then judge less breeds and don't
judge at all.
Yes, you know what I mean.
Judging abroad, do you enjoy it?
Oh yes, I really love it. I judged in a lot of countries, also outside of Europe, Colombia, Taiwan, Iran. I really love the way the people host us, and especially in the small countries, the countries where dog world is not that still that popular. People do a lot of work to let you feel comfortable at the show. So I was also in Iran several times, and although they have a very hard time there, because the situation in Iran, politically, but also in faith, dogs are nothing there. Yes. So if you are a dog lover, you have to be careful. But they do so good work there, and that makes me warm inside. And that's why I love to go, especially to these countries, to see how people work with dogs and try to do their best.
And you sent me this. Talk me through this photograph.
Yes, that was in the World Dog Show in Leipzig. It was one of my favorite judgings, because it was my first breed ever, and judging I think about 80, 90 Old English Sheepdog, and this dog became third in group later on.
Beautiful. Leipzig was a great show.
Oh yes, of course.
It was one of the best organized
I agree.
shows I've ever attended.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it was a great show. Aside from your own breeds, is there a breed that you really like to judge?
Oh yes, I love to judge. I think nearly all the breeds in the groups I judge. But I really love the shepherds, English shepherds. So like Old English, the bearded collie, and the Sheltie, the Newfoundland. I also love the French hounds. These the attitude and the elegance of these dogs. I love to judge Ridgeback and the Swiss Shepherd. That's one of my favorites. And of course, Con, the Irish Wolfhound.
Really?
I love to have that. And since last year, I'm the president of the Irish Wolfhound Club in the Netherlands. I never had Irish Wolfhound, but one of my best friend ever, he died 10 years ago. He had Irish Wolfhounds, and I got involved by him with the Irish Wolfhounds. It's one of the greatest breeds ever.
It is, isn't it? They are very special.
Yes, yes.
And is there a fault that really irritates you?
Yes. Too fat dogs that are too fat, and dogs that smell.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes, I judged in the country. I judged English bulldogs. They were awful. Too much skin. When you do this with the English bulldogs, it's red, wet, smelling. And when you do in the elbows or in the hocks, then you sometimes have I don't know, the hair balls.
Yes.
So people just don't clean their dogs.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I always tell the people that I don't want that. And also English bulldogs, that I think it's one of the biggest faults in that breed, that they have too much skin, and too much irritation.
I judged a Hungarian Puli not very long ago, not very far away from here, that you could smell it before it walked in the ring.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I thought, I know it's a Hungarian Puli, but
yes,
it was just, I mean, it was filthy, John. You've no idea.
I never forget it. I once was a steward. I didn't judge, I think, one or two breeds. Mr. Koefer from Luxembourg. Yeah. And he judged a Commodore. And the Commodore came into the ring. And he said, I'm not going to touch this because it's awful smelling. And the coat, look at this. It's in champion class, so it should be a good dog, he said. I think this is not a good example, but it gives the example that dogs should be handled or should be showed properly.
In your judging career, then, has there been a particular dog that you've judged that, in your opinion, is as close to the standard or perfect as you're ever going to find?
I judged in Russia several times, and one of my most impressive shows was the World Dog Show in Russia.
Okay.
I judged Newfoundlands there, and I can tell you, I'm a big boy, but my tears went loose when I judged 14 dogs in champion class males at the World Show there. And there was one brown bear. I've never seen a dog like that before. So it was, I think, number 3 or 4 in the ring. And when it came in, I said, no way I can judge the females, but this is the dog I want to have.
And this would be him, yes?
Yes. And it's very close to perfection. And when I talked to the lady later, she said, yes, you 2 years ago, you had a special show here with 120 Newfoundlands, and you made them best of breed too.
Wow.
And so this is the type I like.
So what made him so special, John?
His his angulation, his chest, his fore chest, beautiful fore chest, his very nice head with a good muzzle, strong muzzle, and he had very, you cannot see it, but he had very nice eyes fitting to the color, and good close in eye.
Yes.
Eye shape.
Yeah.
And the perfect top line, and the movement was very easy with the rudder as the tail. So it was nearly close to perfection.
It's amazing when you find something like that, isn't it, as a judge?
Oh yes.
I mean, it really does make the hair stand up on the back of your neck when you find something absolutely spectacular.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen very often.
No. Sometimes you come out of the ring and then you say, okay, that was a hard job. Not because of the quality, but because of there were no dogs I would have taken home with.
Yes.
I once wrote for the critiques of an older sheepdog. This dog I want to keep with me and bring me home. So sometimes you have this, and I cannot remember a name. I forget names. I forget breeders. I forget exhibitors, but I can remember when I see a nice dog.
Marion Finney from Ireland here. Thanks you for your words on Irish Wolfhounds.
Thank you.
I think you gave her best of breed on your first judging appointment here in doing Irish Wolfhounds. Which you must have loved.
Yeah, long time ago.
That must have been very special doing them here.
Yeah. Yes, it was. I was so honored to judge Irish Wolfhounds in Ireland. I think that's a long time ago. It was in Kilkenny or Killarney, in the show where the castle is in front and the big green place. I think it's Killarney.
The cathedral.
Yes, the cathedral.
That would be Killarney.
Yes.
But that would have been part. You probably judged on the Sunday as well.
Yes.
Yes. That would have been the Munster Circuit. Yeah. As I say, it must have been very special because I think we all love judging breeds in their native country.
Yes, of course, yes.
So, is there a dog past or even present that you haven't judged that you would have loved to have put your hands on?
Yes, but then I talk about the breed, not the dog, because I never judge. I don't judge Group 9, but maybe if I want to do my exam for one breed and judge in Group 9, then it's Shizu.
Really?
Yes, I love the breed.
Yeah.
They are really monkeys, and I once judged the youngster day in the Shizu Club in the Netherlands. I completely fell in love with the breed.
I have a passion for them as well. They were my first. It was the first breed that I actually made. It was my first champion was a Shih Tzu.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And I loved them. And I'm slightly more old-fashioned. I don't know about you. These new top knots that they put on Shih Tzus these days, I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah. I think it distorts the whole look of what the Shih Tzu should be.
Yes. When you sometimes see them in Japan or in China or in Taiwan, they are about 50 centimeters high.
yeah.
I don't like it. It's not a puppy doll. It's a Shih Tzu. Yeah. And when you see them running in the forest, then you know why this is not that good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and they are a wonderful breed. I mean,
Oh yes.
the whole attitude of Shih Tzus. I mean, that it's just they are so arrogant as a breed.
Oh yes.
I love them. Um, so you're president of Maastricht, and you've been a show secretary, etc., etc. As a judge, how do you deal with irate exhibitors?
Just keep calm. That's I can imagine that as an exhibitor, that an exhibitor can be irritated when you give his dog a very good or even less. Sometimes I give a dog very good or a good in champion class because I think it's not the quality I want to see in the breed.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes people travel a lot um, with a lot of hope, and they think that they have a champion on the leash. And then the judge says, no, no, it's not my champion today. It's very good. And then they get really, really irritated. They also get frustrated.
Yes.
And I once had the same experience myself. I was really, really mad that I was in the ring in Rotterdam with the PBGV, and I thought she was the best ever. It was my breeding, my puppy. It was the best ever. And then the judge dared to put her on third place. So I went to the third place, and when I went to the third place, I said hard that everybody could hear it. Why in hell does she do this? And then when I
Okay.
got on third place, I thought, oh my God, am I crazy? And I apologized to her. And that was the first and the last time I
Mm,
did this.
mm.
But sometimes I'm very frustrated because I also want to win. Everybody
Oh,
wants
we
to
all want
win.
to win. Yeah.
Yeah. But 2 minutes. Then you say, okay, tomorrow
Yes.
at your breed shows, you see that today you get best in group or best of breed, and the next day you get a very good.
Mm. Yeah.
It's a matter of
That's life.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. If all judges agreed, there'd be no point for dog shows.
Then you have only 350 dogs
Yes.
on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you sent the rosettes out in the post.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
again, in terms of your judging, your biggest judging achievement?
That was really the dog show, the World Dog Show in Russia,
Yeah.
because I judged the Newfoundlands, I judged PBGV, they were my breeds, I judged the White Swiss Shepherd, and I judged the Afghan.
Oh, you
And
must have loved it.
yes, and what do you think? My Newfoundland became third in group. The White Swiss Shepherd became best in group, and the Afghan also became best in group. So,
Wow.
what do you think a judge can eat? I was
That.
happy. It was one of the best organized shows ever, with a lot of perfect, hospitable people. And then I saw in the main ring that one won, that one won, and I was yeah,
That's a huge
yeah,
achievement.
yes.
Huge achievement. Now, critiquing. Do you enjoy critiquing? Do you see a value in critiquing?
Yes, yes. I educate, as you know, I educate
Yes.
aspiring judges in a lot of countries. Also in Iran, in Turkey, I did this, in a lot of other countries, and I always learn judges how to write critiques because I think critiques are important when you want to breed with dogs. You
Yes.
need to know what the judge thinks about your dog because the judge is uh, is is very important for the breeding of the dogs. Um, and sometimes when there are no critiques, I want to explain to people why
Yes.
I did something. And then you see too many handlers in the ring, and they don't mind what you think about the dog. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to have their place, their qualification, and then they go. And then I tell, I like your dog, but this and this and this. That's why you're second. That you don't listen anymore, and that's what That's why I always want to put it on paper. Then when you are calmed down and you rest in the evening, and then you read it again, and then you think, okay, he is right, or I don't agree with him. That's
Yes.
also possible.
I
But
think that's interesting because certainly, I mean, as you know, we don't critique here in Ireland. But when I am judging here or in a country where they don't critique, I do find myself in my head critiquing the dog as you're going over it.
yes,
And I found that very valuable. Now, okay, a lot of the critiques will sound the same when judges are doing them, but would you agree that it's important if you're going to give a dog a lesser grade, like a very good or a good, that you must say why? I mean, there's no
yes,
point saying
yes,
this is a wonderful dog, it's got lovely blah blah blah, but I'm giving it very good.
yes.
Uh,
Yes. In my education, I have some examples of critiques, and that's a very nice type, very nice head, moves well, very good.
mm,
Why
yeah,
is it a very good?
yeah, yeah,
Uh, or a critique with 10 faults and then excellent. Yeah,
yes,
why is it an excellent?
yes,
So you need to compare your critique with the qualification.
yeah, yeah. Um, and the Scandinavian system of CKs, do you like that?
Yes, yes. I
Would you
try
like to
to
see that introduced more widely?
everywhere. I tried to do it in the Netherlands when I was involved with the Dutch Kennel Club, but that it was too hard. Yes,
Okay.
or too many discussions. But I like it because you have you have one qualification higher. It's excellent plus,
Yes.
excellent, very good. So it's we always say from 6 to 10 it's good in Dutch study in
Yeah.
Dutch school, but a 7 and a 9 and 10 is much better than a 6 and 7. So
Yes.
that's why I say okay, that's a very good system.
Yeah. Um, in terms of judges, in a general sense, do you think judges have a role in the development of breeds, or in marshalling how breeds are at a present time?
Yes, without doubt, I think they have a very big role. When educating judges, my most used sentence is that your judging has to be seen as a tool in improving dogs for the next generation.
Yes.
So we choose dogs to improve the next generation. That's a very important job. Um, so judges have a very important job, and it's not as important as the breeder soul because he says, I make this and this combination, but we only give our opinion and advice. And I hope breeders will do something with it.
Yes.
And that's why you need to be honest in your comments. Don't always use nice words. Like my old teacher, Vila Herken, said, always use the nice words. No, I don't use nice words always, but you can you can say that the back could be better, the angulation could be better, it's too strong or something. That's you can also say some things in nice words, but then the real things,
And in terms of like you were saying with the English bulldogs earlier, where their eyes may not have been tight enough, which is something that the 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 bulldog people and kennel clubs around the world are trying to address. If more judges gave them very goods, then people will not show them, or they will aim to address that particular problem.
Yes, yes. I the problem is that we give too many excellence to all the dogs.
Yes.
I once did a study for the FCI Judges Commission about French bulldogs, and I found out that I searched for 10, 12 shows in the world, big shows, and 85% of the French bulldogs got excellent. Only 15% very good on that. So to me,
that's too many.
Yeah, an excellent is that a dog is worthy of a champion, without faults or only a little bit faults. And it's not. I cannot imagine that in 10 shows, 85 dogs, 85% of the dogs are champion worthy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I also spoke a judge, a colleague, a few years ago, when we had our lunch, and I said, "Oh, was your day?" "Oh, it was awful. I had so many bad dogs." And then I looked at his qualifications, and he gave 90% of the dogs, of 80 dogs, an excellent.
Yes.
So yeah, there's something wrong then.
I think as judges we have to find a happy medium, because there are also judges who will give out too many very goods.
Oh yes, of course.
And not enough excellence, and that's as bad. You've got to hit that happy. I think, in my opinion, there is a standard above which you will give an excellent, and below which is a very good. And I think as a judge, that's what you've got to find in your head, is what is that standard, in terms of what faults will you forgive, or what faults are you absolutely not going to forgive, or a combination of all.
Yes. And then it's also a matter of reading your standard.
Yes.
And having your standards here in your head and in your heart. If you don't know the standard, it's much.
And let's be honest, John, we're human. So I mean, yes, we can read.
Oh, yes.
We can read all the standards we can, but there are times we get it wrong, and there are times you'll come out of the ring and say, maybe you should have done that, or put that dog over that dog. But that's dog judging.
Oh yes, I sometimes I wake up in the hotel or at home, and I think, oh my God, I did some really wrong things, or I shouldn't have done this or that. But that's life. We are human. We are human, and we do something that's not our objective. If you see that the dog should not be, the dog should look elegant. Yes, what is elegant?
Yes.
What you think it's elegant is not elegant for me.
Oh, you're so right, because it's our interpretation of a breed standard. And your interpretation could be totally different to mine.
Yes. The Afghan should have an Eastern expression. Yes. What's Eastern expression? Yes.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned handlers earlier, while you were talking. Do you adopt a different approach when you're judging handlers?
No. Sometimes owner handlers are more passionate and affectionate than professional handlers. The professional handlers sometimes run around in the ring, they do their job, give the dog to a colleague and start a new one.
Yes.
And owner handlers, like me, I'm an owner handler, very often are more passionate. Yeah. They mostly have 1 or 2 dogs to handle, and they love the dogs they have in the ring. I sometimes see professional handlers, and then they ask to their colleague who has 3 or 4 dogs on the line, and then they say, "How's the dog called? How is it called? How old is he?" Then I think, it could be more passionate, and I don't.
But in general, they do a very good job, and they provide the service.
I like when the professional handler comes into the ring with a dog, but I'm always very careful that the professional handlers, you have to look sometimes more carefully because they really know how to
Yes.
discover faults.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And they are extraordinarily clever at trimming and
Oh
grooming.
yes, oh yes,
Oh, yeah. What they can do with an American Cocker is
yes.
unbelievable.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and just on another, and as somebody who's very involved with a major dog show, this new fashion that has crept into Europe somewhat of double handling a lot of Group Two breeds like Dobermans or Boxers. I mean, Rottweilers. It is becoming a slightly more prevalent. Um, do you stop this? Do you agree with it?
I agree to stop it.
Mm.
A dog should stand on its own. Of course, a professional handler helps, but when you go around the ring, you disturb other dogs.
Yes,
You can help your own dog, but you disturb the other ones, and it's uh, not good when some people don't do it and some people do it. So there's a disadvantage in
yes.
between dogs, and I don't like this.
It's also unfair on the judge himself because or herself
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you know when these dogs are so distracted,
yes,
when a judge is approaching the dog, I mean that
yeah,
there's a big chance that the dog might
yeah,
have a go you know because you're approaching it when it's so highly alert.
yes, yes,
Um,
yes, and they do it professional way. Sometimes
yes,
they stand 10, 15 meters far away. That,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, So, as we discussed throughout the interview, you are president of Maastricht now. You are highly involved with the Dutch Kennel Club. You've been involved with the FCI on many levels. How important is it for you to give something back to the sport that we love? And do you think enough people do so?
I hope so because I want to give everything back what I have learned from my colleagues who've died already, but also my colleagues who still around us. Um, I love to speak about the things I love, but also the things I hate. And you know me, Colm,
Yeah.
I'm very open in that. I'm an open
Yes.
book, and sometimes I can shout, and I also can tell my opinion. And afterwards, I say, "Oh my God, I'm that stupid that I start talking again." But that's me, and I wished people would do more like this and and tell it in your face and
Yes.
try to discuss in your face what went wrong, what went good, and also tell people that they did a good job.
Absolutely.
Because mostly also on Facebook, social media is disgusting sometimes. They break people down. They never said, "Oh, I saw John and he did a great job. He was enthusiastic. He was passionate." No, he said, "Oh my God, look what he's done. He was he was in his nose, well, and so on and so on."
Yeah.
That's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
So just support people and give people what you were given.
Mm. Mm. And do you think we involve young people enough in our sport? Do they want to be involved? Again, I know you're involved at sort of trying to encourage young people to the organisation
Mhm.
of the sport.
Yeah, no, I don't think that young people are involved enough. Um, we
It's
see it
very
already.
difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but come take care. The um, junior handler is not the future in dog world. It's much, much more. It's just a part. It's a
Yes.
big part. It's an important part. That's not the biggest part. The part is the young people in the families 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, who start loving dogs in their families.
Yes.
And if they don't love dogs in their families, then you cannot give it to them when they are 16, 17, or 18. Then
you're quite right.
And we have to start much, much earlier. We have to start in schools. We have to start with dog clubs to make some education for the younger people, and not only for the junior handlers.
Yes. No, yeah, I totally agree with you. That you are so right, and we need to start reaching out to social media to attract young people.
Yes.
You know, the world is that's their world, and we need to tap into it.
Yes.
In some format, or we will lose this
now
sport.
Planning for Maastricht some things with the youngest people, families with young children. They can have an expedition with some questions about dogs. What do you see in this dog and that stand? And then afterwards, when they filled in everything, they can get at the secretary's office a small memory of the show.
That's very clever.
And then we also try to get in contact with these people, with these children.
Yes, that's clever.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to in the future now to see how that actually works.
Yeah.
Now, we all know that kennel clubs worldwide have been under attack over various issues, but certainly brassicephalic breeds have been under attack. Breeds have been under attack for various health issues, etc., etc. And I know that in the Netherlands there has been a particular stance taken. Do you think kennel clubs across the world are dealing with this issue correctly?
I think we too long defended ourselves, and we too long tried to convince people that you never can convince, and that we dog people are not to blame. It's always the other ones that are to blame. So we put our heads in the sand too long, I think. And when you see the development of some breeds, then you really see a problem in movement, in exterior, in nose. And 35 years ago, already 35 years ago, the Dutch government told us about the problems in movement or, for instance, breeding. Really? They had a pocket, a small booklet, and they called it Mooi, Mooier, Mooist. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. And they put in that book, 35 years ago, they did exactly the same as we now have. They compared skulls of the original skulls and skulls at that time, with noses from this to that, with skulls from this to that, and we never listened to them. We said, okay, let's do that. It's their own, its own responsibility. We are doing so good work. And you see that Shih Tzu lives is 13 years. Yes, but a lot of Shih Tzus or a lot of Irish Wolfhounds or a lot of Newfoundlands don't even get to 13. They get 5, 6, 7.
Yes.
So we too long stayed in ourselves. And now you see, also now FCI sees that it's you when you want to achieve something, you need to work together with the people you think they are enemies. They are not enemies, because they want, just like us, that we have healthy dogs.
Okay. But do you think FCI and the Kennel Club London or the AKC, do you not think they should be getting together and formulating some sort of plan to I mean, we're not all bad. We have protected breeds. We have we have improved breeds. Yes, there are some that maybe we could have done better, but pedigree dogs are healthier now than they've ever been.
Oh yes, yes, of course.
The pedigree dog in the 1940s or the 1950s didn't really exist. I mean, they were at the bottom of the pecking order in the family, and
Oh
only
yes,
aristocracy, really, or landed gentry were able to afford them and show them.
yes.
We have protected a lot of breeds.
Oh yes, yes. As you see, the example I told you, the Shih Tzu, that
Yes,
monkey in the forest, it runs like hell. It becomes a lot of years, but it has a short nose, okay, but it can move, it can breathe. Yes, it has a short nose, but we people, we also have some things that are not good, but
yes,
we still get old.
yes. It's a very difficult issue, but I personally just think that we should be employing some sort of a PR organization, because these activists are very good at lobbying Europe or individual governments, and I personally, I just think we should be doing the exact same.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. I work for my city, um, trying to achieve events, and I know that if you want to achieve an event like Tour de France,
Yes,
World Championship cycling, you need to have a lobby
yeah.
relationship. Without lobby, there's nothing going.
And
And
individual kennel clubs
yeah,
have no power.
we
Certainly, we
yes,
have our kennel club, and I'll probably get shot for this. We have no influence on government.
yes, yes. But when you go to European Union, you're not in it anymore. Sorry, but
Yes, we
when you are,
are. Yes,
yes,
we are.
yeah.
It's Britain that's
Oh
not.
yes, you are. You are. Yeah,
Oh,
yes, yes,
shame
of
on
course.
you.
Oh yes, of course. And it was about the English. Yeah.
Yes,
But we when we are doing together, uh,
yes,
and we were too late. We
that's
because
the problem.
the lobby network, you have to build it step
Yeah,
by step by step by step. And when you start to make a lobby national network, when there's a problem, you're too late.
yeah.
You need to be in front.
The
But
gate is closed.
yes,
Mm,
yes.
mm. Well, we will see. Okay, we're going to lighten things up now, John. You're having a dinner party. So name 4 dinner guests that you must have at a dinner party.
hmm Um, my very first, it, it can also be late people.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
My first ever is my best friend Joe Hoffman. He has Irish Wolfhounds, Huroys.
Mm-hmm.
Marion, she knows the Finnies. They know everything about
Yes.
the Irish Wolfhounds, and they really know them. He was my best friend ever.
Mm-hmm.
He died of lung cancer 12 years ago. I also want to put on the table Horst Liebenstein,
Yes.
the German Allround Judge.
Yeah.
If when I talk about the judge that's open, honest, talking with his heart, and talking what's on his tongue, then it's Horst Liebenstein.
Yeah.
A lot from him. And I also learned not to be afraid of talking. And I really learned. I also want to invite Carla Molinari.
Mm-hmm.
During my period as a secretary and president of the FCI Judges Commission, she taught me how to be political,
Okay.
how to want something and then not going like this, but like this, in a wave. But
Yeah.
the goal is the same.
And indeed, we should congratulate Carla on her re-election.
Oh yes, of course, yes. I
which
hope.
happened last week.
Yeah, yeah. And I think she will be re-elected for 15 times now because nobody can. And the last one is Gerard. He is a very big friend in good and bad times. We also have bad times.
Yes.
And he's not only a friend with which I can speak about dogs, but a friend with which I can speak about my feelings, my work, my other things, everything. So he's really special for me.
Okay. Yeah. Super. Super. In terms of judges or breeders worldwide, is it somebody you really admire?
Judge Horst Liebenstein.
Yeah.
He's really the best because he doesn't mind who's behind the leash. He just judges, in my opinion, a dog.
That's most important.
Yes.
And is there a breeder?
No.
Okay. All right. So your funniest or most embarrassing moment as an exhibitor or judge?
Yeah, I thought about this question. I once judged a breed. I don't tell what breed it was. There was a well-developed lady in my ring.
Okay.
And I asked her to move the dog together with 3 others in the class. And suddenly, one of her well-developed breasts fell out of her dress. And she saw it. And in one floating action,
yes.
she put it back again. And she kept on running if nothing had happened. And her dog was really the best. So I put her on first place. Can you imagine, Colin, the critics around the ring? And I think that it was lucky it was so long ago that there was no social media.
Did it get breast or breed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, your guilty pleasure.
COVID spoiled our hobby in dog shows. In Maastricht, we organized one of the 3 shows in the Netherlands last year, and we will organize one of the 3-4 shows this year. And people have their Facebook full of, oh, I miss shows, I miss to handle, I miss to, and so on. So you expect that they cannot wait to enter when the show is open. And then a lot of them who said, I missed that show, I missed this, I missed that. They say, okay, just want to know who's the judge of best in group or who's the judge of best in show. Because they don't mind to walk into the ring with the breed because they think, I won. I just want to know who's the best in group, who's the best in show.
Yes.
And then it's my guilty pleasure that the judge takes another dog instead of that dog. So best of group, best of show, no way.
Yeah. And you were just saying to me earlier just that you will have no finals at Maastricht if you do run.
Pardon? What did you say?
You were saying to me earlier that you probably won't have any finals at Maastricht.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's dependent on COVID. Last year we had no finals.
How did that work? Did people mind that? Or did people prefer it?
We asked people if they bothered that there was no main ring, and 80% of the people said no. It was nice to have the show. It was nice to see the other people. It was nice to enter the dog. So the main ring and some people said, now I can go home early because in my group, always the same dogs win.
Yes.
So I always come in. The judge doesn't even look at my dog.
Yeah.
And I can go out. But I have to wait 2-3 hours before the finals.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of people were satisfied with that.
So do you think maybe COVID will change how dog shows are going to run in the future?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you can see another way of main ring, I hope, because the finals last too long. In some shows, you
In
have
some
3
shows,
hours
yes.
finals, judges moving dogs up and down, up and down, and people, they are not interested anymore. We need to make this much more attractive. So much more. And I once was in Ireland. I don't know the place anymore, but there were as soon as the breeds of a group had been judged, there was the final of that group.
Yes.
And that was in several places. So that was good because then immediately after the groups, the judging, the group was being judged.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very often here we will have maybe 3 groups going on at one time.
Yes.
Because people don't want to, there are times you get the best in show and there's nobody left except the handlers and their family. So get the groups out of the way earlier and get best in show done. Is my attitude.
Yes. So keep it more attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could be transported to another country, have you got somewhere you'd really like to go?
Portugal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, beautiful country, good food, hospitable people, and a lot of great working breeds. I saw, for instance, Transmontano. What a perfect dog is that? Which are working. I just love Portugal.
And finally, John, if you could write your epitaph, what would it be?
Here lies his body. His soul has been spread all over dog-loving people in the world.
Now, that is one of the best epitaphs I've heard.
Thank you.
That is brilliant. John, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Me too.
You've been fascinating. You've been interesting. I knew you would be. You're passionate about what you do. Your show is one of the best shows to judge at. Well, Dutch shows generally are, but Maastricht has a special place in Irish hearts because you always have a smattering of Irish judges there, and you treat them very well.
Yes, this year too. I think 3 or 4 Irish judges.
Yes.
I love to have them.
Yes, I know that. Yes, I already know one that's going out there.
Good judges, and they can sing and they can drink together with
us. Not all of us can sing.
Yeah, no, but
we can all drink, but not all of us can sing. But thank you very much for taking the time. I hope everybody has enjoyed this.
I hope so.
I will be back next week when my guest will be Eddie Patterson from, he's president of Newtownards Canine Society and very passionate about Rhodesian Ridgebacks. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. And again, thank you, John. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Go and have a strong drink.
Thank you.
And enjoy your Newfoundlands and PBGBs. Good night.
Thank you.